Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're exploring Senegalese widowhood
Okay.
through Mariama Bâ's So Long a Letter.
Interesting.
This novel, it's written as a series of letters,
Oh, wow.
and it gives us this glimpse into Ramatoulay's life
Okay.
as she's navigating widowhood in 1970s Senegal.
Gotcha.
It was a time of just huge societal shifts,
Yeah.
women's roles changing, polygamy being questioned,
Right.
and the novel really captures it all.
What's fascinating is that with this format, we're right there with Ramatoulaye,
Mm-hmm.
experiencing her grief, her anger, and then ultimately her strength.
Right.
It's like reading her diary
Yeah.
during this pivotal moment in her life and
Yeah.
in Senegal's history.
The story starts with the death of Ramatoulay's husband, Modou,
Okay.
after 30 years of marriage.
Wow.
And, I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Is that okay? But it's during the funeral ceremonies that the novel really grips you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How so?
You see, these ceremonies, they aren't just about mourning.
Okay.
They reveal a lot about Senegalese society,
Mm-hmm.
particularly the distinct roles of men and women.
Right.
The men they gather
Yeah.
to offer formal condolences,
Okay.
and they praise Modou's accomplishments.
Mm.
It's very somber, very public.
Almost like a performance.
Right.
Yeah.
But the women's space is completely different
Okay.
behind closed doors.
Uh-huh.
It's a mix of, genuine grief,
Yeah.
gossip, even laughter,
Yeah.
as they're comparing outfits and sharing stories.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
this contrast isn't just for dramatic effect.
Right.
It highlights how women experience grief and community
Mm-hmm.
differently from men.
Yeah.
There's a sense of shared understanding,
Yeah.
almost a secret society that helps them cope with loss.
But even in this space, tradition has its downsides.
Okay.
The financial burden of these ceremonies is just enormous.
Oh, wow.
Relatives are expected to contribute, and that leaves the widows. In this case, Ramatoulaye and Modou's second wife, Bintou,
Okay.
struggling.
This brings up a point that Bâ kind of subtly weaves throughout the whole novel.
Yeah.
This tension between tradition and practicality.
Right.
These customs, they're deeply rooted,
Yeah.
but they can also perpetuate hardship, especially for women already in vulnerable positions.
And speaking of vulnerability, the funeral is also where Ramatoulaye discovers the full extent of Modou's betrayal.
Oh, no.
Remember, they were married for 30 years,
Yeah.
but he secretly mortgaged their home to build a villa for Bintou and her mother.
Oh, my goodness.
Imagine the shock, the feeling of being completely blindsided
Right.
after decades of building a life together.
Yeah.
It's here that the novel takes a turn,
Okay.
from a story of grief
Uh-huh.
to one of examining the complexities of marriage and societal expectations.
Like the rug is pulled out from under Ramatoulaye.
Right.
And she's left to grapple not only with the loss of her husband, but the shattering of her reality.
And to add salt to the wound,
Ye-
her sisters-in-law, they try to level out the situation,
Okay.
treating both wives as if they deserve equal consideration.
This is a crucial detail because it shows this deeply ingrained belief that a widow's position is secondary.
Right.
Almost replaceable.
Mhm.
It's as though her worth is tied to her husband.
Yeah.
And without him, she's expected to step aside.
5 years versus 30 years of marriage.
Right.
And they're acting like it's the same thing.
Wow.
And this expectation of self-sacrifice is everywhere.
Yeah.
From the pressure to hand over possessions
Right.
to the subtle but powerful ways society tries to diminish a widow's individuality.
Think about it. The expectation for her to become almost invisible,
Right.
to relinquish her claim on the life she built with her husband,
Yeah.
is exposing how these traditions, while seemingly about respect,
Mm-hmm.
can actually be a form of social control
Wow.
over women.
It's heartbreaking, and you can't help but wonder how Ramatoulaye will navigate this new reality. Will she succumb to these pressures, or will she forge her own path?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
But to understand Ramatoulay's journey fully, we need to meet another fascinating character,
Okay.
her best friend Aissatou,
Right.
whose story mirrors Ramatoulay's in a way that will leave you thinking long after you finish this deep dive.
Okay, before we get to Aissatou, I want to pause here for a second and ask you, dear listener,
Yeah.
what's striking you so far? What resonates with you about these early moments in the novel?
Yeah.
Take a moment to consider that before we delve further into the intertwined lives of these remarkable women.
So Aissatou's story, it really adds like a whole new dimension to our understanding of Senegalese women's experiences.
Okay.
Like Ramatoulaye, she faces betrayal in her marriage.
Right.
But her response is just strikingly different, offering this powerful contrast.
So her husband Modou takes a second wife.
Right.
And this isn't just any woman.
No.
This is Nebu, a young woman practically groomed by Modou's mother for this very purpose.
Wow. Talk about a calculated move.
I know.
It really highlights the power dynamics with the families and the ways tradition can be used to control even the most intimate aspects of people's lives.
Right, and Aissatou and Modou, they seemingly had a love marriage,
Yeah.
defying social norms to be together.
Right.
To see that crumble under societal pressure is truly heartbreaking.
It really is, and especially for Aissatou,
Right.
who comes from a more humble background than Modou.
Right, he even faces family's prejudice to be with her.
Exactly.
So you'd think their bond would be stronger than societal expectations.
And that's where Aissatou masterfully presents these two different paths of resistance,
Okay.
faced with, similar betrayals.
Mm-hmm.
Ramatoulaye chooses to stay and fight within the system,
Okay.
while Aissatou chooses to walk away and build a new life for herself.
Elsewhere.
Yeah, abroad.
And Aissatou embraces education as her weapon,
Yes.
eventually securing a prestigious job abroad.
It's a bold statement,
Yeah.
not just for her personal freedom, but for what it represents
Right.
in a society that often tries to limit women's aspirations.
Think about it. Her choice to leave.
Yeah.
It's a rejection of the idea that a woman's worth is solely tied to her husband.
Exactly.
She's forging a new path, showing that fulfillment can be found outside the traditional roles prescribed by society.
So we have these two powerful women
Yeah.
facing similar challenges, yet making drastically different choices.
It makes you wonder, is there a right or wrong way
Right?
to navigate betrayal and societal pressure?
Bâ doesn't offer any easy answers.
Right.
Instead, she invites us to consider the complexities of
Yeah.
these choices and the strength it takes to forge your own path,
Right.
regardless of which direction you choose.
And then there's Ramatoulay's daughter, Daba.
Right.
She represents that younger generation.
Yeah.
And her perspective on marriage and relationships, it's like a breath of fresh air in this world.
Yeah.
So steeped in tradition.
Daba is furious about her father's betrayal
Right.
and can't understand why her mother chooses to stay.
Yeah.
She sees marriage as a partnership built on love and respect, with the freedom to leave if those elements are missing.
Right.
It's a radical idea in this context.
She even calls polygamy
Yeah.
legalized adultery, which, ouch.
Ouch.
It really goes to show how the younger generation is challenging these long-held beliefs
Right.
and demanding a more equitable future.
Dava's perspective highlights this generational shift happening in Senegal.
Yep.
She's not bound by the same constraints
Right.
as her mother's generation. It's almost as if she embodies the future that women like Aissatou are fighting for.
So we have these three generations of women, each navigating societal expectations in their own way.
Yeah.
But Ramatoulay's journey isn't just about her internal struggles.
Right.
She also faces external pressures
Yeah.
that test her resolve at every turn.
You're talking about the marriage proposals, right?
Yes.
It starts with her brother-in-law, Tamsir.
Right.
He proposes under the guise of, taking care of her,
Yeah.
allowing her to stay in the family home.
Okay.
But there's a sense of entitlement there,
Right.
as if he has a claim on his deceased brother's wife.
It's like he expects her to be grateful.
Yeah.
He even criticizes Bainatou,
Oh, wow.
saying that Ramatoulaye would be a more suitable wife.
The audacity.
No.
It just underscores this idea that a widow is viewed as a burden that needs to be managed
Right.
rather than an individual
Yeah.
with her own desires and agency.
Then comes Daouda Dieng,
Yeah.
a successful doctor and politician
Okay.
who proposed to Ramatoulaye 30 years earlier.
Wow.
He seems genuine,
Yeah.
even advocating for women's rights.
Mm-hmm.
For a moment, you think maybe this could work,
He represents stability, security,
right?
a way for Ramatoulaye to provide for her children
Yes.
and maintain her social standing.
It's a tempting offer,
Right.
especially considering the challenges she faces as a single woman.
But Ramatoulaye realizes that the salt of life is love.
Right.
She doesn't want to compromise her emotional needs, even for a seemingly good match.
Right.
Her choice reflects a growing awareness of her own worth.
It's a powerful statement, rejecting societal pressure
Exactly.
to settle for a marriage of convenience.
Ramatoulaye is choosing to prioritize her own happiness,
Mm-hmm.
which is a radical act in a society that often dictates women's choices.
And she faces pushback, of course.
Right.
Her neighbor Farmata becomes the embodiment of societal judgment,
Okay.
constantly pushing Ramatoulaye to remarry,
Yeah.
emphasizing Daouda's wealth and status.
Farmata even uses cowrie shells for divination.
Oh, wow.
a traditional practice in Senegal to prove that this marriage is Ramatoulay's destiny.
It highlights the influence of cultural beliefs
Right.
and how they can be used to reinforce societal norms.
It's amazing how Bâ subtly reveals these layers of cultural complexity.
Yeah. You mentioned cowrie shells.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, I'm intrigued. Can you tell us more about their significance in Senegalese culture?
Cowrie shells have a long history in West Africa,
Okay.
dating back centuries.
Wow.
They were once used as currency,
Oh,
but hold a deeper significance as tools for divination.
okay.
Diviners, often women,
Mm-hmm.
cast the shells and interpret the patterns they form,
Yeah.
providing insights into a person's fate, relationships, and even major life decisions.
So it's not just a random practice.
Oh, no.
It's deeply rooted in their belief system.
Exactly.
And in this case, it's used to pressure Ramatoulaye
Right.
into a marriage she doesn't want.
Exactly.
It's like tradition is being weaponized against her.
Exactly. And Ramatoulaye, despite facing immense pressure from family, friends, and even her own cultural beliefs, ultimately chooses to defy those expectations.
Yeah.
She rejects both proposals, declaring her independence and choosing to shape her own future.
This is a pivotal moment, right?
Yeah.
It's like she's finally breaking free from the constraints that have been holding her back.
Yeah, absolutely.
But freedom comes with its own set of challenges, wouldn't you say?
Choosing independence doesn't magically erase the challenges, right? But it does empower Ramatoulaye to confront them on her own terms.
Right.
And she really starts to take control of her life in ways that she never even imagined before.
Like learning to drive.
Yeah.
I love that detail.
Yeah.
In a society where women are often expected to stay within the confines of their home,
Yeah.
her getting behind the wheel is just such a powerful symbol of her newfound freedom.
It's almost like she's claiming her space
Yeah.
in the world,
Right.
literally and figuratively.
Right.
And this newfound mobility, it's not just about convenience. It
Yeah.
really represents her agency, her ability to move through the world independently.
And she doesn't do it alone, right?
Yeah.
Aissatou is there for her, not just emotionally, but practically.
Mm-hmm.
She helps Ramatoulaye financially and encourages her to embrace this new chapter in her life.
It speaks volumes about the power of female friendship and solidarity.
Yeah.
In a society that often pits women against each other,
Yeah.
their bond becomes a source of strength and support for both of them.
It's a reminder that we don't have to navigate life's challenges in isolation.
Right.
Having a strong network of friends and allies can make all the difference.
Absolutely.
But even with this support, Ramatoulaye still faces, those moments that make you just question the world around you.
Yeah, you're referring to the incident with her sons.
Yes.
They're playing football in the street,
Right.
a common sight in Dakar,
Yeah.
when they're injured by this reckless motorcyclist.
It's a small incident, but it just throws Ramatoulaye into this spiral of reflections on the state of their society.
It's like this accident opens her eyes to the dangers of this rapidly modernizing world.
Right.
The streets aren't safe for children,
Oh.
and she laments the lack of designated play spaces,
Yeah.
a problem often overlooked in the rush towards progress.
It's a powerful commentary on the clash between tradition and modernity. Senegal is evolving, but the infrastructure hasn't kept pace,
Right.
leaving its citizens vulnerable in new and unexpected ways.
And Ramatoulaye doesn't just stop there.
Right.
She connects this personal tragedy to broader global issues, reflecting on the senselessness of war and
Yeah.
the universal nature of suffering.
It's a reminder that even amidst our own struggles, we're all interconnected.
Her thoughts highlight a key theme in the novel.
Right.
This idea that despite cultural differences, there's a shared human experience that transcends borders and circumstances.
Okay, so we've got Ramatoulaye embracing her independence, navigating societal pressures,
Yeah.
reflecting on the changing world around her. But Bâ throws another curveball our way.
She does.
This time it hits closer to home.
You're talking about Aissatou,
Yes.
Ramatoulay's daughter, also named Aissatou.
Right.
She becomes pregnant out of wedlock.
Yeah.
A situation that sends shockwaves through the family and exposes the hypocrisy of traditional values.
Imagine the scandal. Remember Farmata, the ever-judgmental neighbor?
Yeah.
She's beside herself, lamenting the lost opportunity for a good marriage.
Right.
One that would bring financial security and social standing.
But Ramatoulay's reaction is unexpected.
Right.
Instead of anger or disappointment, she responds with a surprising acceptance and understanding.
Right.
She even allows Aissatou's boyfriend, Ibrahim Assel, to visit regularly,
Wow.
breaking tradition and prioritizing her daughter's happiness.
It's like she's learned from her own experiences.
Right.
She's not going to force her daughter into a life she doesn't want, even if it means defying societal expectations.
Yeah, it's a beautiful example of a mother's love
Hmm.
and a woman's growing sense of agency.
This moment highlights a shift in Ramatoulaye.
Yeah,
She's letting go of rigid adherence to social norms
right.
and embracing empathy and compassion.
It's a sign of her personal growth and a recognition that the world is changing whether the older generation likes it or not.
And through it all, Ramatoulaye continues to reflect on the evolving role of women in Senegalese society.
Mm-hmm.
She has this incredible conversation with Delta Dieng
Yeah.
about the lack of female representation in government.
She passionately argues for equal opportunities,
Right.
criticizing the slow pace of progress
Yeah.
and the persistence of male dominance in politics.
It's a powerful statement demanding a future where women have a voice in shaping their nation.
Right.
And it's not just talk.
Oh, no.
We see her actively encouraging her daughters to pursue their education and make their own choices,
Yeah.
even if those choices go against societal norms.
She's a champion for the next generation of women.
Yes.
Ramatoulaye embodies this idea that true liberation comes from within,
Right.
from challenging your own assumptions and embracing the possibility of change.
Her journey is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit,
It is.
particularly in the face of adversity.
In her final letter to Aissatou, Ramatoulaye expresses a determination to refashion her life. She speaks of these new buds springing up within her,
Yeah.
a symbol of growth and renewal.
Despite the heartbreak and betrayal, she's not giving up on the possibility of finding joy and fulfillment.
Her story reminds us that even in a society bound by tradition, individual choices can make a difference.
Right.
And even when faced with immense challenges,
Yeah.
there's always hope for a brighter future.
So what does this all mean for us, the listeners?
Yeah.
What can we take away from Ramatoulaye's journey through widowhood in 1970s Senegal?
Well, on the surface, it's a glimpse into a specific cultural context.
Mm-hmm.
But beneath that, it's a story about the universal experiences of women,
Yeah.
regardless of where they live or what time period they inhabit.
It's about love loss, betrayal resilience, the struggle for agency, and the power of female friendships.
Absolutely.
These are themes that resonate across cultures and time periods.
Ramatoulay's story reminds us that the fight for equality is ongoing,
Right.
and that even small acts of defiance can have a ripple effect.
It encourages us to challenge social norms
Yeah.
and create a more just and equitable world for all women.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into So Long a Letter.
Yes.
We hope you've gained a deeper understanding of this powerful novel and the complex world it portrays.
Yes. And as always, we encourage you to continue exploring these themes on your own.
Absolutely.
Pick up a copy of So Long a Letter and see what resonates with you.
Yeah.
Until next time, keep diving deep.